Hey folks, so I wanted to recap our last live session and kind of go over what we talked about so that you guys have some reference for your assignment for the week and have a good start to it. So let's start with our mood board. All right, so this is our going to be for our paste up. You're going to create a new paste up for this creature. We're doing, like a level 40 monster. Something that's a little bit beefier, or you have the option of doing a mount. As for me, I'll be doing a griffin. All right, and what I'm pulling up in reference for the griffin is I'm starting with some anatomy, and maybe even looking at that anatomy and locomotion, looking at some physiology. So I'm looking at lion anatomy and eagle anatomy, or bird anatomy in general. And then I'm also looking at other animals that I might want to incorporate their physiology into, and forms that I appreciate in other animals that I might want to incorporate into my creature, that nature of that creature. And so I'm going to use a griffin as a mount, right? And as far as mounts go, the horse is it for mankind, pretty much. The horse and the elephant, right? Maybe the goat, maybe the burro, but the horse is most definitely the most graceful, and I think the most applicable to doing a griffin. So I'm gonna try and work in some horse anatomy, or take some cues from horse anatomy. So I'm gonna put that into my board, and then I also want to look at construction because I'm gonna be doing a bird wing. I'll also show you guys how to do a bat wing if you're doing like a dragon or a drake or something along those lines. And then outside of that, I want to grab sort of gestural reference, right? I want to look at good images of animals expressing themselves, or poses, get pose anatomy, or pose reference, I mean. So, I'm looking at stuff like this, and it's not just the expression; it's also the vibe that I'm trying to capture of just that aggressiveness. And it's not necessarily like I want to have this permanent expression on my character, but it's just that feeling. And what can I pick up from this without putting a permanent expression on his face? But what can I pick from that would imbue him with that vibe, right? So these are sort of vibe images, and it's important that you pull things that you personally connect with. You have to have a personal connection, somewhat, to whatever you're creating, and if it's not by design, in this case, you have the luxury of making sure you have that from design. It needs to be there from just you finding a way to connect to it, finding something in it that you love. It's that connection, that emotional connection, that's going to feed your inspiration, that'll feed your motivation to get through everything to the final little perfecting lines, and nudging this 2% that way and 2% that way to really get it to where it's absolutely the absolute best you can get it, and you have a creature that has a beautiful polish to it. So those are my notes on the paste up. Now let's go into ZBrush, and I went ahead and did a Z-sphere blockout, and I'll step through the undo history here just so you can see it jump up. And I'm trying to capture just the very basic structure of what my creature is. So I have the claws in the front, I'm doing the lion legs in the back, I have my tail in there, and of course I have the beginnings of my wings in there. From here, actually let me bring this sphere out just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to drop an additional sphere here and bring that back. There we are. Alright, I'm going to hit the A key, and it's going to shoot everywhere. Let's try that again. So I'm using the Mac version of 4R7 64-bit, and there are quite a few bugs in this, and I just came across one using adaptive skin. So I've turned on use classic skinning, and I want to make sure that my mesh is not pre-subdivided. So I'm going to hit preview, and I have my mesh. I'm going to say make adaptive skin. Let's switch over to skin underscore zsphere1. From here, I'm going to go ahead and convert this over to Dynamesh. Let me go ahead and I'm going to leave it where it's at, kind of boxy state. Go to Dynamesh. And I want to make sure that I'm low enough that I can move quickly across this mesh. I'd be able to snake hook things around relatively quickly and move things around relatively quickly. So 10,000 polys is going to do it for me right now. I am then going to show you a little bit of a couple tricks of just working with a silhouette. And for this, I'm going to exclude the wings. So this isn't my technique. And actually, I should probably do this with symmetry. But this is a technique that I picked up from an artist and friend, Cesar Dakel Jr. Let's activate symmetry on that mesh and do that again. Let's go to split and say split hidden. There we go. And then from here, let's go ahead and remesh, close those holes. And what the exercise I'm about to show you is, it's for silhouette work, right? So typically, this was shown to me as a way of thumbnailing quickly, right, and coming up with variations in thumbnails. Now, I know exactly what I'm doing as far as the creature goes. I'm doing a griffin. I have the basic structure, and I'm really just looking at refining this silhouette to see how I want this creature to communicate what it is. Is it speedy? Is it slow? Is it strong? Is it dopey? Is it cunning? Is it, all that starts with the silhouette. How your character communicates what it is. So I'm going to say he's not a pushover, right? So I definitely want him to feel intelligent or at least cunning, right? So that's what I'm going to aim for, and then I definitely want to capture something of the cat in my silhouette, something of the eagle in my silhouette in the head as well as in the talons. So let's go ahead and start. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and take my creature and I'm going to fill him with the outline thin material. And it's a little hard to read on this gradient background, so I'm going to go to the draw palette, the document palette, and I'm going to take that range slider, I'm going to bring that down so I have a solid background. Next, I'm going to go to layers, and layers, for those of you who are new to layers, they're not like Photoshop layers. They're unique in that they store deformation and color information, not just it's not like Photoshop layer where it stores a separate object. That's closer to the subtool palette and how subtools work. Layers work a little bit differently. Conditions for layers: if you subdivided your mesh, you need to have if you subdivided your mesh, you have to beat your highest subdivision to create a layer. You also have to beat your highest subdivision to enter in and out of record mode. And once you've applied a layer to a mesh, there's no more subdividing it or no more working the topology until you bake your layers into your character. So let me first fill my character with this material. I'm going to say color fill object. Next, I'm going to create a layer. And before I do anything, I'm going to go down to my morph target feature here. Looks like I already have one here, so let's delete that morph target. Morph target stores the state of a mesh. In other words, whatever state it's in right now, when I click store morph target, it's going to store that. Now, if I were to come over here and use the snake hook and start working on the silhouette, and then come back over here, whatever I do over here, I can switch back to my original state. And it stores, that stores one iteration of that. But this is how we'll be going back to our original every time we create a variation. So I'm going to come in and I'm just looking at my silhouette from the side. I'll start there. Try and get that big cat leg going. Let's look at it from the front. Inflate down here at the tail. Let's look at it from the back. Definitely want to get these legs underneath him. Kick up some speed. Running. Alright, I'm going to call that one variation done. So let's call that variation 1. Let's go out of record mode. Create a new layer. Call this variation 2. And I'm going to go to my morph target. I'm going to say switch. While I'm in record mode. And that way it records the state of the mesh that I had initially, that the pre-variation 1 mesh. So now this one, I want to make this a little different. So I think I want to increase the height of the legs. Make them a little bit taller, a little bit more horse-like. Clear that mask. Let's come in again and work on the body. And I think maybe making him starting to feel a little lanky, so I think I'm going to make him a little longer and maybe a little bit more cheetah-like. And don't be afraid to go a little bit, I don't know, I don't want to say weird, but I'd say definitely explore, right? Don't be afraid to be extreme in your silhouettes. You're going to leave room for those happy accidents to happen, right? By doing that. Because what we're going to do, and I'll get to it in just a second here. Oh, looks like I got a little split there. brush size was too small. So we're going to end up doing, once we have, you could start with 3. I'm just going to work with 2 for right now for the sake of time. But once you have a couple variations in your silhouette, go ahead and take yourself out of record. Let's hide them all. I'm going to go to morph target. And I'm going to delete my old morph target. And actually just go ahead and turn these guys back on. And then I'm going to use these sliders to sort of go between a blend of the silhouettes that I have. You can try playing around in negative and see how that plays out for you. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like a hornbill. A hornbill griffin. How do I feel about that? Grabbed a bunch of eagle reference, but a hornbill griffin might be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run with that. So then once you have a combination that you like between these two values, you're going to go to morph target. You're going to say store morph target. Then you're going to turn off both layers, create a new layer, and I'll call this var3 combo. And then I'll go to morph target, and I'm going to say switch. Let's go out of record mode. Let's go ahead and switch our morph target again back to the normal. And there we have it. We have that combination stored on one layer. So the more layers you make like this, the more variation in your silhouettes that you're playing with, and then the more permutations you'll get in creating combination silhouettes. Then you can start combining these combinations until you get something that you really feel comfortable with. So that's it. I hope you guys will have something next session for us to take a look at silhouette wise, but if not, I definitely want to check out your boards, and we'll be meeting on Friday, and I look forward to seeing your stuff. Alright, thank you very much. Have a good one.